Bomba data, 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 bomba data,
Happy Friday morning, everybody.
Happy Friday. It is Friday. And
Happy
trails.
Friday morning and happy trails to
Happy
you.
trails usually on a Friday. And that's
Usually
why we're always
Friday.
so excited, aren't we? We're so
Yeah, we're
excited
usually
because we're exciting people.
we are. And I'm working on my tan on my left side of my
Let's say
face.
it must be sunny there.
It is I don't think it's that sunny. I don't know. Man,
Well, like
I
what?
was in this spot, it was nice and cool, and then the sun peeked up over this tree, and now I'm sweating. This is great. It's awesome.
Are you outside?
No, I'm in the lobby bar.
Oh, I was gonna say
It's actually pretty. The bar's pretty cool, actually. But
Yeah, obviously
I can transition somewhere if I needed to. But this is
there's
fine.
no. Isn't there a fireplace behind you for the
There,
ambiance, like
there
when we were in
actually
Dallas?
there actually is one right over there. I could, and it kind of looks like the one that we were at, so we could do that. And there's a Bob's Steakhouse, just like. How about that?
Wow, what a deal!
Yeah. So that the member Bob's had the big carrot. Everybody gets a big carrot on their. Well, you got a little carrot, but I got a big carrot.
I like carrots.
Remember, you got the little one.
I had fish.
That's
Is
why.
that the place? Is that the place?
Nobody goes to a freaking steakhouse and orders fish.
Freaking great fish there. So good. Watching out for my cholesterol.
We're gonna stop at the gas station. Give me the sushi. I want the sushi plate. That's Blaine. Let's get the sushi plate at the yeah. I think we're good. You want the pickled pig's feet and pickled egg, or do you want the sushi? I think I'm going to go for the sushi, Bob, for 100.
I think isn't that supposed to be at Buc-ee's? It's in Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's is the big joint down south.
Yeah, Buc-ee's is the God. It's huge. If you've never been to a Buc-ee's, but people
I've seen
go
pictures.
They go crazy. Like it's like going into the mall. You walk in there, people are like they just grabbing all kinds of stuff. And
that you know what? I had an experience like that years ago, and people who know me will have heard this story, but that's how I met Fred Meyer.
You met Fred Meyer there
at Fred Meyer. It was the Fred Meyer store, and you walk in, you're like, "Whoa, what is this place?" They had everything. Yes. They had everything.
You can't beat that. That's a story. That's a story worth telling.
That was out in Seattle, so years ago.
Oh, well, that figures. It's in Seattle. Hey, if you're from Seattle, we love Seattle.
I haven't been to Seattle in a long time.
I'm kidding.
Fish market's good. Fish market's good.
Well, of course you like the fish market.
I like the seafood, it's good for my cholesterol. Come on, bro.
Yeah, I hear you.
We're here about.
Hey, so happy trails, radio voice engaged.
How's everybody doing today?
How is everybody? Thank you very much, and welcome to Happy Trails.
Yes, right on.
Where we have the face for radio.
And you know what? I was so sad to experience. I mean, last week we did our podcast. We were in Vegas, and we had Dr. Megan with us, which was a great podcast, just to hear her thoughts and what she was taught. And I think that is going to relate to so many people. And I think people will go, "Yeah, I get you. That's me. That's me." And I think that was fantastic. Thank you, Dr. Megan. I don't know if she's listened to that though.
Dr. Megan, if you're not watching or listening, then we got a problem.
Yeah. I mean, let's go. So, but the one thing that we forgot to do is who's got your money?
No, I think I did it though.
I don't think you did it.
Really?
I don't think you did last week.
All right. Well, we'll throw that in somewhere.
Broke a streak.
We'll throw it in there somewhere.
That's okay.
I think if you listen to it, I think I did.
I do listen to it.
I think I asked Megan. I said, "Megan, who's got your money?"
Oh, well, maybe I'm wrong. And listeners out there, if you were paying attention more than I was, let us know.
Hey, if Blaine's wrong, will you guys please just put that in the comments? Blaine was wrong as many times as you can.
Comments below. and share.
and then
share and like.
share the comment, not the podcast, just the comment with everyone.
Oh man.
Perfect.
Oh man.
Hey, I really thought that conversation was great, and I'll tell you the reason why I really liked it is Megan is where we were. Megan is exactly where we were at that stage in our careers, and I'll be honest with you, it's where I was
2 years ago,
probably
3 years ago,
3
5
years ago.
Yeah, I know.
And I tell you, Blaine, I have one of the things I want to talk about today is just the overall impression of attitude and awareness that you have to start developing and having as you move through your careers. And as you move to the stage where we're at, if we're riding off into the sunset, what is required of us to be able to enjoy the sunset, right? And I think it's a topic worth. I know we've touched on it before. I think it's a topic worth going over again, because since talking to Megan, I've even had conversations with some other people that have really made me step back and go, wow, this is a universal thought. It takes a different thought process. It takes a different mentality to move yourself into this kind of realm from where we were or where Megan is.
Yeah.
And I think it's crazy how backwards the thinking was that we had. Same thing with others. It's not that it's wrong.
No,
it's just in order to switch. Best example, the cash flow quadrant by Kiyosaki. To switch from the left side of that quadrant over to the right side where the actual wealth is generated and tax savings starts, to move from the left side to the right side takes a mind shift. And that is the one thing that people don't have. I mean, I'm at a meeting here in Louisville, pediatric dentist.
Louisville.
And it's called bourbon and baby teeth. Yes, bourbon and baby teeth.
That's how you treat baby teeth cavities, is bourbon.
Well, I think when kids are teething, and they're screaming, you just rub some bourbon on it.
Yeah, a little, one for me, one for you.
And then you make sure a little slips down the back of the throat for the baby, and then they're out, man. Pain gone. It's great.
True.
My pain's gone. It's perfect.
I mean, and that actually was a mindset back in the day. 100 years ago, right? You're just talking about mindset shifting. But for you that don't know that was actually a treatment for teething pain and colic and stuff like that in babies. Is a little bit of bourbon. It's true.
So yesterday we did 2 distillery tours. We went to Woodford, which
cool.
Love Woodford, and we went to Buffalo Trace. And both places talked about how during Prohibition they were the fabrication, the sales, and the drinking of alcohol was prohibited. That's why they call it Prohibition. But what people did is they bootlegged and they made it anyway. And this is something that was reported in the areas around Louisville. The matter of fact, the state of Kentucky as a whole, the healthcare claims like more than tripled because of toothaches and things like that. Like they had a pandemic of pain and discomfort because one of the things that dentists and doctors and veterinarians could prescribe, alcohol. So even though it's prohibited, everybody's like, "Oh my God, I got a toothache. Here's a 5th of Jack Daniels for you. Enjoy that." So,
we laugh, but how about marijuana? Same thing today.
Mary Jane.
My back hurts. Okay, I'll go to a state that prescribes marijuana and to relieve pain.
Mary Juana.
See, here at Happy Trails, we're about the whole life experience. We're just not about real estate. You guys are going to learn. You're learning so much from us about mindset and history of the world. Bourbon.
We're here to teach. We're here to teach. You know why? Because we're givers. We're life givers. And we're lovers. Givers. And we're lovers.
Yeah. So
hey, so let's talk a little bit, Blaine, about mindset. Tell us In your words.
Real quick, Matt, before we do that, I was going to
Okay.
run over some of these numbers. Okay. Last week.
Oh,
we
wait.
talked
Yeah. You talked about that.
We talked to Megan, about, our retirement
Investment.
stuff,
Yeah, retirement.
investments and what they've been doing and how they're rolling, and about the stock market and stuff like that.
I think because did you say the stock market is up 27%?
17 over the last year. They told us in a class the stock market's up 17%. And I'm like, well, heck, shouldn't our retirement plan be up that much or something similar? And so I was like, well, I'll see what happens. And so I looked up the numbers, and the stock market is up about 17% from a year ago, which is kind of surprising to me.
So you're up 17%, right?
So it went from the Dow Jones. We're just basing this on the Dow Jones because it's the biggest thing, but it went from about 30 to about 35,000, and so 5,000 is about 17%. So I'm like, hey, well, my retirement should be up substantially because that's pretty freaking good growth for a year, right? And it was up about 7. So there's some fees people have to get paid there, but wow. And then I look back and I'm like, well, what was the Dow Jones over the last 5 years? And so I look back for the last 5 years, and it went from 26.5 to 33.7 or 34-ish about now. And that's about a 27% increase. I'm like, well, that's cool. That's, over 5 years, 27%, not stellar by any means, because they say the average is 8 or 9, but that's a little over 5% a year, which, it's, it's better than nothing, but not much more than inflation. So, and I'm like, wow, I wonder what the retirement's done over the last 5 years. Do you think it's up that much? No, not quite. It's 2.99. So
what you talking about, Willis?
Again, it's not like, I mean, the people that we have invested in, and people are like, well, you're in the wrong investments. I'm like, yeah, well, thank you for telling me that. But here's the deal. I mean, we've decided to focus on multifamily real estate. We're not focused on day trading. We're not focused on buying and selling stocks through Robinhood or whatever. I mean, if you want to do that, that's great, but that's not our style. That's not what we're doing. And so, I mean, what do you want us to do with that? I mean, we're just giving it to the professionals that we know, and they're supposed to be helping us, and they're probably doing the best they can with the tools that they have,
Sure.
and so that's, I mean, I appreciate that, but it just doesn't work for me. That's not working for me. And that is why we're so freaking passionate about what we're doing right here, right now. And that's why we want to share this with everybody. We want to tell people about this, help all our neighbors, all other dentists, our friends, get involved in this. So we said those numbers last week, and I thought, man, I'm going to look those up and do some stuff. And Matt should probably chime in with his. I know he doesn't probably know what his retirement plan numbers
I
are,
have no
because he
idea.
probably can't log into his account to find them,
listen.
because he doesn't have that information either.
As technologically savvy as I am, I'm not really sure.
The IT man. But again, everybody's got their own interests. And if you want to go freaking day trade, and you want to, I mean, I had a Ameritrade account for a few years. I don't know if you remember that back in the day, Matt. They probably
Yes, I do actually. Look, I'm sweating.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to turn over. Okay, go ahead.
I had an Ameritrade account for years, and I was like, how hard is this? I can go buy Coca-Cola or freaking Microsoft, or IBM was a big one back then. And then there were some local companies that crashed and ruined my portfolio. But I did some stuff like that too. And I was not daily, but monthly, I would get in and go and just kind of look around and go, hey, this company looks like they're pretty solid. And GE, hey, that's a pretty good company. They give a dividend. And, I'd invest in these things. And again, I didn't gain much. And so then I figured, forget it. I better focus on dentistry, because that's what I'm trained to do. So anyway, if you're like, man, your returns aren't that great, you're doing the wrong investments. Well, thank you very much. I realize that, but that's why we're doing multifamily, because that's our investments moving forward. And so, yeah, that's all I want to share now. And I'm done.
Well, and I think that's a
So-
lot about control, right? Because I think what's happening and what we decided after listening to some information, first off, we started the education process, right? In order to be down, you can't be down on something you're not up on, people, right? So you've got to figure
get up to get down.
You've got to be up. So you got to educate yourself. Get up, get on up, get up.
Get on up.
So but you got to educate yourself to figure out exactly what you can do to evaluate what's happening around you. So, yes, I think Blaine's absolutely right. When he looks at his returns and he's getting 3% and the stock market's up, but I mean, he's only up 2% from that 3. He's wondering where the hell his money is. Well, I got news for you, people. I'm sitting here having a conversation with my financial guy here the other day at this meeting. And someone was talking about how they fund their retirement fully. And he says, well, how's that working for you? And he was being facetious. And I kind of laughed because I'm thinking he's absolutely right. Because
I need to find out. I'm going to have Megan log into her account. I'm going to find out what her percentage is, from start to finish of her retirement.
I think
because
doesn't her husband watches that, I think.
He watches a lot closer. Yeah.
So
he
plays
doesn't,
with it.
I don't think he messes with it too much. I think he lets the professionals do it, but he has his opinions and more of a, pays more attention to it than a lot of us. But I'll find out what she does, because I'm curious. I have some money sitting in a savings account right now that is producing 5%. Hey, how about that?
Wow.
That's
Wow.
better than my historic retirement plan. Anyway.
So yesterday I shared, because one of the investments that Blaine and I are in is an RV park.
Yeah.
We got involved in that when? Beginning of the year. It was
late
was that
spring.
end of,
It's like
this year?
March
Yes,
or April
that's what I
this year.
thought.
Yeah, it's less than 6 months ago, probably.
So each of us put in $100,000 into this investment in March or April. So we're getting our first distribution check, quarterly distribution, about $2,000. So if you take that $2,000 annualized quarterly over the year for your $100,000 investment, that's an 8% return, people, per year. Yep. 8% return per year.
And that return is at the beginning process, right? That's before anything's been perfected. That's before their business plan has been executed, which definitely will increase the NOI
and improve for sure. For sure. It'll move the same direction that any apartment complex that we're involved in. So that way, when it comes to the sale, or we hang on to it, or the refi, or whatever it is, we're going to, again, make the money that we've invested plus, and then we can continue to ride it out, or we can sell it and more than double, or continue the distribution, whatever we want to do. The whole point is there's probably not a lot of people that are getting an 8% return on their money right now anywhere in the stock market, unless they're day trading and playing and things like that. Yeah. There's some of you out there, and that's awesome. During my day, I'm doing dentistry. And then when I'm not doing dentistry, then I'm doing everything I can to learn about multifamily. We're doing everything we can to share it with y'all. And we're trying to do things to level up, so to speak. So that's kind of the whole deal that we've kind of gotten into. And I think it's critical to note that the mentality that most people have is not that. It's the way that we were thinking 2 years ago, 5 years ago. And there's so much more available out there. There's so much more out there that you just probably don't know about. And if you just take the time to learn, if you just take the time to listen to some things that Blaine and I are teaching, and then take it upon yourself to go educate yourself a little bit more, you'll be blown away. You'll absolutely be blown away, which leads into the concept of what I wanted to talk about today. Excuse me. And that is mindset. We've talked about mindset, but the ability to look at things the way they currently are, and don't pat yourself on the back for how good you're doing, but pat yourself on the back, say, great job. Now what? What's next? what's next? Because there's something on the other side of it. Even if you're successful, there's something on the other side of that success that doubles the success or triples the success or whatever it is. So you've got to see beyond where you currently are and be willing to look and evaluate. A lot of people that I meet, and here I'm in a meeting of dentists, they don't see it that way. And it's crazy because you get around people that are in multifamily and the thought process is so different. It's so positive, it's so uplifting, and it's so built on, hey, let's develop and create future wealth. Let's create investment potential, legacy for kids, for family. Let's create generational wealth so we can go on vacation and enjoy rather than work your asses off waiting for that one day to enjoy it. I'm scrolling through some social media. I see some friends that I grew up with, and some of these guys are in the hospital right now, like had a heart attack or whatever. Where does life end and where does it begin? Does life end when you finish your profession of dentistry, Blaine? I mean, here we are 5 years from now. Is this when life begins, when we're 70?
No,
Well, I
dude,
mean,
I'm not 70 in 5 years. Just saying. Your math is good sometimes, but not.
I always age up. I age up.
You look pretty
Oh,
freaking
60.
good for 65,
Well,
Matt.
I always tell people, you know, in my
Wow.
office, they'll tell me their age. I'm like, wow, you look good for your age. And I say, I look pretty good for 62, don't I?
It's the hair plugs.
It's got to be. Look at it. I had put some gray ones in too. Some gray.
Yeah, it's natural, man. Gotta look natural.
So let's talk a little bit about mindset, Blaine. Not just with hair plugs and mindset,
Yeah.
but mindset in general. What are some things that you feel as though you have transitioned in, let's just say in the last 2 years? What are some things that your mindset has brought to the table for you?
Well, I mean, the huge one is that there's so much, and this has been a process through my whole career. One of my mantras that I teach my kids is that you will realize the more you learn about something, the more you don't know about it. And that's been the case in dentistry for a long time. And so, when I'm focused on the dental world and making my practice awesome and doing stuff for the patients, you go there and you go, oh my gosh, I can do this. And then you start doing this. You're like, wow, what if I do that on top of this? That just, that compounds that. And, then you start, it was like, I got into the real estate stuff again. And I'm kind of mad at myself because, I read the Kiyosaki books, and that's, again, a great place for anybody to start. I read those years ago, and then I forgot about them, and I just kind of ignored them and put them off to the side because I thought my mindset was, I can't do that because I'm a dentist. And bam. And then, I got to the point where you hit an emotional, and I think what Tony Robbins talks about, eventually you're a change. Maybe we got this from James Ray, but if you'll make a substantial change when you hit a significant emotional event. And I think when I was doing that the retirement stuff, and we went to the first Sunrock thing, I hit a significant emotional event when I looked at my retirement and where it was and where I wanted to be. And I'm
That's
like,
huge,
oh my
dude.
God. And so that totally shifted. I'm like, I got to change this. And so that totally shifted my mindset. I'm like, you know what? These people, and you're looking at the people on stage, a lot of healthcare professionals up there, a lot of, I mean, some people think, oh, you have to be in real estate in order to invest in, or you have to know something about it. No, there's all walks of life up there. I mean, our one friends, the Kitty sisters, were fashion. They had a fashion company. How much? What does that have to do with real estate? Nothing. I mean, not very much, right? But it's the mindset that they got from creating that, and the mindset we get from dentistry that, hey, if we shift over, we can do this. We can learn about this. We can make this successful. What's out there? And then I get back to what you've seen, you can't unsee. And we talked about that and learned about that at the AIMNAT Con conference a few weeks ago. And so when you've seen this stuff, you're like, that's out there. I just can't, now I can't go back to retirement plans, to my 401k. I can't do it because there's so much more out there to know and to learn. that could be better. And and the other thing is people they're stuck in fear. We talked about fear a lot, it's the fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
What happens if I do this and it doesn't work?
Yeah.
What? Well, what if it does?
Yeah.
What if it does work? And what if things are better out there? And I mean, that goes into relationships. Like I said, I've that thought process has been with me for a long time. And we did learn that when we were doing some studying under one of our mentors, James Ray, who taught us all this mindset stuff. It's like, people are stuck in their ways because they don't know, and they're scared of the unknown. And they're like, gosh, what if it's worse? But it's like, hey, it could be way better, but you'll never ever know if you don't try it. And so I'm like, I'm trying this stuff. I'm going out there, I'm learning what I can, and I'm rolling with it. And if this thing bombs and I have to live in Matt's basement, and in 10, 15 years, he's got a big basement. And I'm like, well, I couldn't, I don't think I could have lived with myself if I hadn't tried this and hadn't gone forward. And the more I'm into it, the more successful I feel this is going to become, and the more confident I am.
Yeah. So he couldn't live with himself. So why not come live with me? I mean, shit.
Right. Yep. Just keep that pool nice and warm.
You got it. So, hey, you touched on exactly what I wanted to say. I mean, it's so perfect because I think you and I are in the same place, and the things that we're learning are to help propel us to the next step of our future. I read Kiyosaki's books years ago as well, but I read them fast. I skimmed through them. I didn't pay much attention to them, right? Put them down. No big deal. Picked them back up and listening to these, and for those of you that haven't read the books, the first book by Kiyosaki was called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And the basic premise of Rich Dad, Poor Dad was his father was super conservative, ultra conservative, came from the mindset of save, retirement plan, become a doctor, become a dentist, become a lawyer, get education and get a good job and work and fund your retirement and then retire.
Yeah.
His
father
rich
was a professor.
dad. Yeah, his rich
professor
dad.
at school. Yep.
His rich dad was one of his best friend's dads, who didn't have a college degree, college dropout, self-proclaimed. And what he did was real estate investing. And he became a multi-millionaire, billionaire, sharing every bit of wisdom he could with his son and with Kiyosaki as they were growing up. So he had his rich dad, who wasn't really his dad, and his poor dad, who was his dad. And the two gave such polarized opinions and beliefs, and shared with his son, with Robert, the different views, that he started to see the things that were really happening with his rich dad and the things that weren't happening with his poor dad. Even though he loved his poor dad, the poor dad came from a belief system unlike the rich dad. And he decided he wanted to live the lifestyle of the rich dad. And I just want to tell you, Robert Kiyosaki is a multi-billionaire now. I mean, the man owns real estate. He owns a gold mine. How do you own a freaking gold mine? Are you kidding me? Hey, Robert, how do you
find those?
I don't know. I had one of those metal detectors. He was just out. Like, hey, I found this thing. I see those videos all the time where they're on the beach, and they come up with stuff. Yeah, maybe that happened. But anyway, so I mean, that's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Now comes the next one, the cash flow quadrant. Well, again, this is what we're talking about. Blaine and I, before jumping into this 2 years ago, would consider ourselves in the lower left quadrant, which is small business. We were taught we needed to run a business, become a doctor, become a dentist. We're in charge. But who pays the most? Who pays the most taxes?
There's a lot of good benefits to being a business owner.
There
no
is.
doubt. There's
is.
a lot of bonuses, but who pays most taxes?
Who pays the most taxes? Small business.
Got your money?
Who's got your money?
Yeah, small businesses.
Small business.
That's us.
Up to 60% of your money in taxes. Not just yours, because if you're an employer, you also pay employees taxes. So that's how that number comes up in your business. 60% of your money pays taxes. Is there anyone else in the world in the United States paying 60% tax? Anyone? Nope, just the dumbasses that decided to start their own business and work their butts off and do exactly what we've been doing for 30, almost 30 years.
And not learn about the tax code that can help benefit you.
See, and this is the key. So now the movement
Legally.
becomes into bigger businesses that, and again, let me go into a different mentality here. When you're in that small business grouping, that mentality is about you. It's about your income. How do I save? How do I protect? How do I limit? Whereas you move over to the other side of the quadrant, it becomes, how do I help others grow? How do I help them become better? How do I help the overall, all my employees make more money? And in return, I make more money. But it's not about me. It's not focused on me. And those people pay about 10% in taxes. And then you've got the investor people on the other bottom quadrant that pay zero tax. Zero people. Have you heard that? Let me say it again. Zero taxes. Zero taxes.
Yep.
So how do you want to pay zero tax? I do. I want to know how to do it. And this is what Blaine and I are teaching as we move along in this. We're teaching you, how do you become one of these people that pays zero tax, creates the savings, not generating tax circumstances that you have to pay on, but writing off taxes, saving money, moving to the next investment. This is what we're talking about. This mentality is a different way of thinking. It's a different way of seeing the world. It's a different way of seeing money. It's a different way of helping people. We don't need to be on this podcast. As a matter of fact, I started this with talking to Blaine, and one of the people that I know very well is at this meeting and asked me a question. And I was really taken back by the question. They said, Matt, why do you do this? Like, what's in it for you? Why do you do this podcast? What's in it for you? I looked at him or her, and I'm not going to tell you who he or she was. And I said, well, it's not about me. Because what we're trying to do is generate informational wealth for other people. And what that does is that helps lift all ships. The rising tide lifts all ships. That's exactly what Blaine and I are trying to do. How can we help you become wealthier to enjoy your life a little bit more, so you're not spending it behind the dental chair or sitting behind the table or the desk? How do we help you change your lifestyle with your families at the same time? The end result is going to be, as we help educate everybody, there's going to be circumstances where Blaine and I are going to come to this podcast. We're going to say, hey, we've got a deal that we're putting out on the table. It's a great deal. We'll walk through the whole thing. And if you'd like to invest with us, then you have an opportunity to change your wealth here. So when that time comes, does that benefit us? I guess it does, but that's not the goal here. The goal is to help you become better at the same time as we're learning, you're learning. And the person looked at me and was like, I don't understand that, because they're in the place where they need the return themselves. If I'm going to give you something, I want something back. Where we're at is we want to give you something, and somewhere down the road, hopefully it benefits all of us. I'm not worried about it coming back to me. Blaine's not worried about it coming back to him. As we educate you, we educate ourselves, and things just get better. That's the whole way that we make the mentality work around multifamily. Every person we meet at a Sumrock event or anything like that, their mentality is the same way. How do we grow together?
Yeah.
It's crazy how the mindset shifts when you're around people that are positive thinkers, that are forward thinkers. It just blows me away, because dentistry is this microcosm of, to be quite honest, negativity. Dentistry has a lot of negativity associated with it. And it blows me away that we can stand to go to a meeting and be around people that are such small thinkers. Listen, people, it's time to expand your freaking mind. Let's grow. Let's go and let's grow.
Bam. There you go.
Yeah. What you think of that?
Well, yeah. Can you repeat that?
Yeah. Which part? Which part?
No, that's fantastic. And we've done a lot of work in our offices to try and create a mentality whereas, rising tide raises all ships.
Yeah.
And, I hear this every time I hire somebody in my office. They come in, they're like, oh my God, this place is so different than where I was before. Are you kidding me? That back there, nobody was friends at the other office, and we just did our job together, and then we went home. And now we had this trip to Vegas. It was fantastic and had an awesome time. And so again, that has been my thought process. You know, a lot of that goes back to what Matt taught me about this stuff 20 years ago when he was teaching this stuff at LVI, which is a dental clinic. But you know, and so that's been my mindset, and it kind of always is. And I've tried to teach that to my kids and go, hey, this is the deal. You know,
Right.
if you can bring value to something, then everybody gets the whole thing grows, right?
Yeah.
Don't go get a job job and just get by. Find where you can get, and it's taken, I don't know. There's sometimes, you know, I mean, you guys look at me and go, that guy is awesome and he's super successful and
And he's sexy.
His wife is gorgeous and his kids are wonderful. Yeah. But there's a lot of times where I wonder.
Is that what people are thinking when they see you? I mean, that's what I think of when I see you. I mean, I guess you were just reading my mind.
Yeah. Well, I just, you know, those are the comments we get below.
Yes.
But anyway, there's a lot of times where I think, well, am I bringing value to this situation? You know, I've owned this dental practice for 20 years or whatever. And sometimes I sit back and I'm like, is this what I'm supposed to do? Am I actually bringing value to this? Am I actually helping people? Because why were there 3 people that were pissed at me today? You know, I mean, you know, just stuff like that.
Buddy, I wonder, man, dentistry is one of those professions that I have it all the time. I mean, I'm involved in stuff that I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, why do I continue to do this? I don't understand. Why would I continue to subject myself to people who are so ungrateful? I mean, when we're changing lives a lot of times, Blaine, and all we're doing is trying to help. We don't go to the dental office and go, you know what? I'm going to screw some people over today. we go and do everything we can to help people get out of pain, look better, feel better, gain confidence, whatever it is, to make them healthy, whatever it is. And there's people that insist on trying to push the system because they can get away with it. And it's insane to me, but it proves a point that this is just the way that I almost ate a fly. Did you see that?
It's like, this is the point.
This is the see if it'll come out my nose. Watch.
No.
So
wait, here, I'll talk so you can't see it.
No, you're good. Anyway, but it really is. It's disheartening to know that as a profession, we work so hard to help other people. And yet at the end of the day, we sit back and wonder, is it really worth it? That's not the life that I wanted to live. It's definitely not the lifestyle that I wanted. And I sure as hell don't want to be questioned by somebody because my intentions are nothing but good, but somebody's always able to question what you're doing. So in that quadrant, that lower left quadrant, even in talking with Megan, dude, last week, loved her responses. Because she's us. She's us. She's us. She's people that I know that have been out of school for a couple of years. There's others. And it's the same way. Their thinking is so different. The thought process is, I don't have it. I need the income for me. Where the mentality is, if we can teach to expand beyond that quicker, then we have a way to impact her life, her children's lives, her husband's life, the family, the whole thing.
Her dog's life.
Dog's life.
Yeah.
It's a dog's life.
Yeah.
That's what we're about. That's what we're about, man, is how can we impact others' lives? And being here at this meeting and just having conversation the last 2 days about investments and about retirement and mindset, and the negativity surrounding so many people is crazy, which is why I wanted to talk about the mindset, because I was actually stunned because I haven't been to a dental meeting in quite some time. I mean, here you are, dude, you went to a meeting in Vegas. What'd that cost you? To take your team to go do all that stuff cost you probably well over 20 grand.
Oh, yeah, it was probably double that.
Yeah.
20, when you talk 50, about losing a couple of days of production even.
Oh, yeah.
Because we'd closed the office for a few days. Yeah, it's
50 if you're taking production. So you lose $50,000. Is it worth investing in your team for that? Well, you tell me when you get back what happens. You know, do people see the picture? Do they understand where they're headed? Do they get it? That's what this whole thing's about. So I know we kind of sound like we're repeating things over and over, but we're not. It's just
Well,
this has been
repetition
on
is a lot of learning.
this has been on my heart since I got at this meeting and having conversations, even with people that I know, love, and care for. I mean, close friends who are questioning what it is that we're doing because they don't get it. And I'm thinking, God, maybe they don't get it because they're never going to get it.
Yeah.
And it's something that we can only try so hard and go so far to get the mindset to shift. The rest is in your hands. I can't shift it for you. For those of you listening, you're on the podcast for a reason, man. You're paying attention for a reason. We want to be the catalyst that helps you understand that a little bit differently, a little bit better. So just understand the intentions are very clear. We've outlined it from the beginning, and we want nothing more than to serve as mentors, but also as colleagues through this whole thing. Because as we learn, you learn, and hopefully we all win at the end.
Yeah, and we talk again back to the mindset thing and the real estate people. When you go to the meetings we've had with Sunrock, everybody there, I mean, everybody that I've talked to, and of course, the law of attraction, you attract what you put out, if you believe in that. People there are so into, how can I help you? How can I get you involved? What can I do because I know if you can help. If I help you, you'll help me do something, and we'll both go up. And that's so cool to see. And then sometimes you get into the real world and you're like, did that really happen? Because no, nobody around here is like that. And so you get, again, that just a little microcosm. So it's nice to go to those meetings, nice to have a conversation like this, to go, you know what, that's one of the things I love about the group of people and the education we're getting is the mindset of, hey, let's raise this tide and help everybody, help all these frickin' boats.
I thought what was really cool, and one of the conversations I had was, I mentioned my financial guys here, to listen to him speak to. I didn't prompt it. I didn't tell him anything that we're doing. He was talking about the things that he's doing. He's doing the same things that we're doing because he's trying to create that generational wealth for his family. So
nice.
He's not just taking his money, put in the stock market. He's not putting it into his retirement account because that sure as hell ain't going to get him anywhere at the end of the day. So what's he doing? He's doing something similar to what Blaine and I are doing. And I was kind of like, that's a proof positive thing for me. You know what I mean?
That's cool.
We're on the right track. And there's so many people that aren't on the track because they just don't see it and they don't get it. So maybe they'll make it at the end and maybe they won't. I don't know. But hey, so want to obviously thank Megan for last week. That was a great conversation. It sparked some great interest and great talk. But
we're going to set up some more interviews with people too.
Yeah.
Different walks of life. So for a future,
I got one question sent to me after last week. So did you get one too? Did you get anything last week?
No.
The question that was asked is kind of in relation to today. It said, what are your top 3 things that you've learned since starting in multifamily? Those are pretty large topics for us, but I'll tell you this, because it feeds into today. I think the number one thing that I'm continuing to learn on a daily basis is what we talked about today, mindset. If your mindset is not forward thinking and positive, then you're not going to be a forward thinker or a positive thinker. You're not going to advance yourself. You're going to be one that's going to be stuck in the me quadrant, wondering, when is mine? When do I get mine? How do I get mine? Who do I got to bring into mine? Whereas the others is investing in people and things and process, and to where the income becomes passive and the enjoyment is greater and the money continues to flow because you're doing great things for great people. So mindset's number one. Obviously, we talked about the GP team. I had a deal put in front of me this week with a great GP team that I'm considering joining. And I've got to look at the particulars on the deal, but these are people that I have watched for 2 years, and I love this group.
Yeah, cool people.
I love 2 of the people in this group.
Those are great.
That approach me, and I think they lead great family lives. They have great values and great core beliefs, and these are people that I want to run with. Man, I said it 2 years ago that, like, I want to run with that guy and with that guy because they're doing some really cool things. Those are people that I looked up to. Kitty sisters, when we met Nancy, and I didn't meet Palmy, but I met Nancy. Kitty sisters, man, those 2 are sharp. And as soon as I met them, I'm like, they have something different that other people don't have. What is it? And I want some of it. So That's another group. So once that leadership team is so critical. So that's the second thing is looking at who is leading those GP teams and who you know, like, and trust. That's the second thing. The third thing is something that's just come up in the last several weeks, and that is opportunity. Opportunity comes knocking. You don't have to grab every single one of them, but to have the mindset that you don't have the money, that you can't get it. Let me tell you, there are avenues for money everywhere. Everywhere. There was a question on the table last night. I have this abundance of money that's sitting here from another loan, and that loan is going off at 3.5%. Should I take that money out and assume that 3.5% on that extra fund of money and put it into my account and use it? Or do I let it go? Seems like a no-brainer, right? But if I said,
That's who you are.
My question was, well, if you went to borrow that money right now, what kind of money, what's the percentage? Well, somebody at the table says, well, I just took a loan out. It was 5.65%. And I said, so it's 2 points higher at least. So why wouldn't you take money at 3.5%? Because you're not going to get 3.5% again right now. Maybe a few years from now, you're not getting it right now. You're going to get 5, you're going to get 6. Why not take the money and use it? So everybody has that ability. If you have a 401k, did you know that you can borrow 50,000 of your money in a 401k and pay it back to yourself with interest? And that goes into the account. Did you know that you can do that legally? And you set the terms.
And you're paying yourself interest, not somebody else.
Paying yourself interest. And you know what? If you say you don't have the money and you got a 401k, I guarantee you can pull 50 grand out of it right now. Pull 50,000 out and put it in a deal. Make more money than what you're getting in the market, because the market's giving you what, Blaine? 3.5%?
299.
299. And here we are. We're in an RV park that's giving us 8% in the first year. Within the first year, quarterly payments, 8%. Is that going to grow? Fuck yeah, it's going to grow.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that people see things. They can't see the 8% change versus the 3% change. So this is all we're trying to bring awareness. And those, I would say those are 3 things that I have learned to be super critical since getting in this. What about you?
Yeah. The number of avenues in multifamily real estate I think has impressed me. I just, like I said, I owned a couple multifamily investments years ago here in Cedar Rapids, the suburb of Robbins, of course, and they didn't do so well. And I thought, well, maybe this, again, maybe it's like the stock market. I just don't know enough about it and I don't want to learn or whatever. But there's so many different avenues. We talked about RV parks. The deal I am going to be involved in is build to rent. So it's ground up construction. That's another thing. It's not, I mean, it's multifamily, but it's not an existing structure. So, you can buy things that are newer, and you can buy things that are older and rehab them. I mean, so many different avenues in what inspires you. There are out there, and I think that's great. The mindset part is always key. And again, the people, the thing that I've been totally amazed is the people we're around. And Matt talked about some of the people we've been involved with and how great they've been to us, and you get to know them a little bit, and you understand their values and what they're like as individuals. You got to trust these people. And so this isn't something that you when you get all excited when you're starting this and you're like, okay, let's go, I want to get in a deal. And then you get in a deal and you're like, I don't have any idea who these people really are, right? I mean, they put on this good presentation going, this is going to make you a lot of money right here. Mm-hmm. Look at this. You're like, wow, that's crazy. Can you actually do that? Yeah, oh, yeah. And it's proven to, and maybe it'll happen. But, then you're like, who is this? And so then you kind of hesitate. But so it takes a little while to get to the people that like, and trust. But that's so big, so big and so huge and so important in doing this. And that's why we're very likable and very trustworthy.
Amen.
Yeah. And so that'll help. That'll help you all out there.
Absolutely.
And so those are a couple things that have really that spurred me on. There's so many different opportunities out there. It can be for everybody, but you just, and also made me think you've got to open your mind and realize there's so many opportunities out in the world, whether it's investing, whether it's whether you just want a relationship with somebody, or careers, or places to go vacation. I mean, just there's so much out there that we'll never get to know because it's too much for the human mind to comprehend. But open your mind. Just let go a little bit. Let go of your beliefs, your structured beliefs that you've had for decades, and go, hey, what if it is better?
Here's a question you need to ask yourself, and this is to everybody out there. If given the choice between trusting yourself and trusting somebody else, who are you going to choose? It's life or death. Do you choose you, or do you choose somebody else? Chances are you're going to choose you. Well, this is no different. If it's time for you to take charge of your own future and your own wealth creation and your own directive, then you have to start educating and finding and learning so you can make that decision. Not just give your money to somebody that you hope that they're doing the right thing for you. But like Blaine, he's been doing this for so long, and I'm going to find my numbers too. I want to share these numbers with you guys too. Blaine's put his out there in the course of the last, how many years? 20?
Yeah.
20 years,
25.
3%. 3%. But yet you hear about the market growing, that it's up 17% or 27% or whatever. So doesn't that automatically mean that my stuff has grown 27%? No. So my question is, why not? Why not? Why is my stuff not in the stuff that's moving? Well, that's probably because there's some guy that invested your money and he put it into, medium risk or low risk or whatever it is, and you just letting it ride, because that's what we're supposed to do with the market. You're supposed to catch the high, and it's going to ride low, and it's going to go up and down. It's been proven time and time again. That's what happens. Well, you know what, people? They're not making any more real estate. There's only so much land left in this world that we can grab a hold of. But you know what? There's so many people that are being born. There's more people on the earth today than there was 10 years ago. And you know what? They need housing. They need potential. They need office space. They need all kinds of things. Find a way to help others at the same time as helping yourself. That's the key. So who are you going to choose? You're going to choose you. You're going to choose somebody else. You know what? It's time to buck up, people. It really is. It's time to stand up and say, you know what? I choose me. And this is what I'm willing to do about it. So,
but then you got to take action. You got to take action. You can't just choose me and then go sit and watch TV.
Nope. That's why you're on happy trails. That's why you're on happy trails.
You're on happy trails. So you're doing something about it.
You got it. So, hey, I think I'm sweating, and I'm sunburned on the left side of my face.
There was a shade. The shade kind of rolled over a little bit.
Just a little.
Yeah.
Just a little.
So but then if in the shade.
There it is. Feels so good right there.
It's just the middle.
So good. I'm sweating. My F-bomb shirt is sweating.
Wow. You probably need a cold plunge to cool you off.
Hey, my cold plunge arrived. It's
the big one?
It's wired up today. So when I get back on Sunday, it'll be cold and ready to go.
I was I'd done some, I don't know if I said this, but I've done some like colder showers or something just to kind of get the feel for the cold. Yeah. And they're like low 70s. So it doesn't count.
I did the cold showers in high school, and out of necessity.
That's for a different reason.
Out of sheer necessity.
Different reason. That was because you were building your baseball career.
Yeah, that's about it. That's about it. Hey, so I got nothing else. Blaine, what about you?
Nope, I'm good. That was a good one.
Bros,
I mean, again, we're here to help in any way we can, and sometimes it's educating you on real estate that we know about. Sometimes it's interviewing people. Sometimes it's just telling you how we're thinking and how our thought process has changed. And that's, I mean, if you don't change your thoughts, you're going to be stuck.
Sometimes it's just motivating you to get off your ass and do something, people. And let me tell you, we all need it, me included. So, Hey, Blaine and I were taking the steps. Come join the ride. Watch this, share this with your friends, send us questions, like it, send it out, share it on social media, send it to your friends, watch it on YouTube, listen to it on Spotify, whatever the case. Just get involved, get your friends involved, and let's take this journey together, man. This is all about growth, and this is about kicking ass. And you know what? There's only one thing left that I have to say. That is
Happy trails,
happy
everybody.
trails.
I'll
Happy
see
trails,
you-
everybody.
See you next week.
Thanks for being on.
Who cares about the clouds when we're together? Just sing a song and think